is we're going to be doing reviews for Doom Patrol Season 2. We're also going to be doing a review for Star Wars Visions, and we're also going to be doing a review for Rick and Morty Season 5. So we're going to be doing that. Speak of the devil. There we go.
Hello.
That was quick.
Hello. Sorry about that. Sorry
That
I'm
was
late. This little monster decided to make a mess, so I had to clean it up.
okay. Yeah. So yeah, that was quick. Yeah. So hey, how's it going there, Nick? How you feeling, man? Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah, Bubbles is staring into that camera today. Holy crap! Usually she always looks away and everything, but she was staring in that
Yeah,
camera for a bit.
she is trying to connect with the audience right
Yeah,
now.
I see. Yeah, those button dots for eyes there. Yeah, just really looking into somebody's soul. Um, Today we, like I said, we're gonna be doing Doom Patrol season 2. We're gonna be doing Star Wars Visions, and we're gonna be Rick and Morty season 5. There's no real news to discuss today unless you want to talk about the Cobra Kai season 4 date. They have a
I didn't.
announced.
Uh, cool that they announced a date. I haven't had a chance to watch that teaser.
Oh, okay. Yes, they announced the date. I think they said December 21st is when it's gonna come out this year.
Hmm.
I think that's what the date said at the end of the trailer. But yeah, but it's really kind of just it's showing that Terry Silver's gonna be back. So we
As he should be.
yeah. What surprised me also is like I heard news before that they're gonna do a season 5. I thought this was maybe gonna be the last season. It seemed like this would be the natural conclusion to just end off with this season. But okay, let's see if they can do at least one more
Uh,
season out of it. But
I mean, shit. The way the third season went, unless you like kill fucking John Kreese, then I don't think he's gonna stop.
I guess I don't know. I guess I mean he is. I mean the actor is 76 years old. I mean he's up there. So you know what I
Hey,
mean.
he actually looks a lot younger than he is, unlike a certain gentleman we spoke about yesterday.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean he's in good shape. Yeah, really good. I mean you'd want to look like that if you're 76 years old for sure. Um, so what do you want to start with out first? Do you want to start with Doom Patrol? Do you want to start with Star Wars Visions, Rick and Morty? Which one do you want to go?
Uh, let let's go ahead and break down Star Wars Visions.
Okay, sure. So Star Wars Visions. Star Wars Visions is the animated series on Disney Plus. It is a collection of like these little shorts, basically. 9 episodes. No episode is longer than 22 minutes. And it's like this anime style influence that you see. You have all these different anime studios coming on to kind of add their own input to Star Wars and telling all these different stories. So it's an anthology series. No connective tissue to any of the other episodes. Just all anthology stories. People coming in to tell all these different stories. I'll talk about kind of some of my favorite episodes that were there. Some I kind of really liked. I would say the first episode, the duel, which is basically it's a samurai episode. It's Akira Kurosawa.
Mhm.
It's kind of that style. It's just simply a straight up kind of samurai episode, and I think that perfectly fits with the kind of Star Wars universe. It because the Jedi's they take inspiration from samurais. I mean, their whole
Mhm.
kind of culture, the way of life. Obviously the lightsaber is the samurai sword and everything like that. And I thought that was kind of very good, and the whole black and white looking aesthetic I also thought looked very good.
Yeah,
And the very
that black and white aesthetic contrasted with like the starkly bright red of the lightsabers. It was probably one of the best looking of these nine shorts.
yeah, very very much so. What about you? What was a episode that stuck out to you very early on?
For me, it would probably be the fourth episode or the seventh one. Probably the seventh episode, The Elder, where it's a Jedi and his Padawan hunting down this supposed Sith Lord. And out of all of them, I think this is one of the few that they could potentially follow up with, whether it be like as its own animated series or incorporating it into live action. And I think that of the English dub voice cast, that probably has some of the better performances because that episode has David Harbour, Jordan Fisher, and James Hong as the principal cast.
Okay. Yeah, I. What would you think about kind of all the episodes together? I mean, do you think like if you had to judge the entire season, would you what grade would you give it?
If I had to judge this entire season, I'd probably say something like a solid B plus. I think after Lucasfilm and Disney, after they wrapped up with the whole Skywalker saga, this is when we're getting the really interesting Star Wars content. This is where we're allowing studios from all over the world to come in and play with this universe, uh, and just off of these 9 shorts, it was absolutely the right call. You get to play around with so many different animation styles, so many different ways of storytelling. The first one, like you said, is very much a Kira Kurosawa style film. The second episode, it's more like a just day in the life high school anime. The
Yeah,
third one is more shonen.
yeah. And speaking just kind of like you bring up the kind of the shonen one and kind of more the traditional anime kind of episodes, like in 2 and 3. For me, one of the weaker episodes for me was the musical episode, like the whole rock
Mm-hmm.
band episode. That's the second episode. Tatooine Rhapsody, great title. I like that title, by the way. Tatooine Rhapsody, that's a pretty good title. But that one I wasn't too big of a fan of. I thought it was kind of one of the weaker episodes.
I did too, but I think a lot of it has to do with just that style of music. It doesn't really translate really. It doesn't translate well when you have an English voice actor doing the part. I that was the only one that I switched it over to Japanese and thought the performances were way better.
Okay. In the third episode, you had the twins, which can almost be seen as an episode where it was kind of like what if, like a what if episode of Star Wars, where if like what if Leia maybe became Darth Vader or something like that. It can almost be kind of seen as that because it's all about these two biological twins and them kind of fighting each other. You know, one from the light side, one from the dark side. So it can be kind of seen very much as that. I thought that was a good episode. I think that episode had kind of one of the better action sequences kind of in the entire season for me. I thought that was pretty good. What did you think about that episode?
Yeah, I think the story of that episode was kind of the weakest one. I'm not a huge fan of like that shonen power fantasy style of anime, but I thought the voice actors in this did really well. The two twins are voiced by Neil Patrick Harris and Alison Brie in the third episode.
Okay. Then you have the Village Bride. This was one of the shorter ones. Like shorter ones are kind of typically like 17 minutes, kind of get in and get out. This one is kind of like I said, it's a story that kind of gets in, gets out, where it's all about this village that's kind of being overrun. As the village is being overrun, there's kind of one little villager that stands up, but then it was a Sith that kind of stood up against the village, that struck down all the people. What did you think about this episode particularly?
This episode, I liked kind of the more Miyazaki-esque style, the Miyazaki-esque style with it. I think um, it reminded me a lot of with something that we talked about earlier this year, Yasuke. But I think the emotional beats of this episode hit a lot better.
Okay. The Ninth Jedi was the fifth episode. This is my second favorite episode. I really like the twist of the episode, the twist in the episode towards the end of what you think it's about, these Jedi's kind of come in there and what it turns out to be in the end. I really did like that a lot. And this is my second favorite one. And the whole concept of you have this person who's this craftsman, this, what's the word for it? I'm just
Oh, this a lightsaber smith.
Yeah, lightsaber smith. Yeah, they call them. They used to call
Yeah,
them blacksmiths. Yeah.
who's voiced by Simu Liu.
Oh yes, voiced by Simon. Yeah, he's getting more of them Disney checks. He's just fully ingratiated himself. He's like, I'm gonna be here for a while. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get all those Disney checks I can get. Yeah, I thought this was really good, and I don't know if this has been ever introduced before, but in terms of this kind of, they add the mythology that if whoever wields this lightsaber, they add their own personality and energy to it, so then that changes the color and then that makes the lightsaber full formed. So if you know what I mean, so whoever wields it, I think it just used to be like the Jedi, the lightsabers are made from just a crystal, kyber crystals, and then that gets put into the Jedi, and then that gets put into the lightsaber, and then that makes the lightsaber go. But this one adds the mythology of, the Jedi themselves add to the weapon and form the weapon themselves, which I thought was pretty cool. And I did really like the like I said, the twist at the end. What did you think about this episode?
Yeah, this twist I did not see coming. It's probably out of all of these 9 episodes, this is the one that feels the most like Star Wars. I like the protagonist, who's this blacksmith's daughter that we're following around, and it's kind of incredible that she gets more development in like 22 minutes than Rey did in like 3 goddamn movies.
Throwing shots at Ray there, huh? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, I guess I can't blame you. Yeah, I guess I can't blame you. So then after that, so you have episode 6, which was T0B1. This was kind of like almost like I don't know. It reminded me a lot of Astro Boy for me.
Yep, it's 100% going for a similar vibe to Astro Boy, even down to the character's design, being some color grade away from just being Astro Boy.
Yeah, very much so. This was, to me, one of the weaker episodes. This had to do with the whole kind of, you have the Master, and then he has his robot, and then the Master was a Jedi, and then the robot wants to, take on the Master's legacy and then become a Jedi because that's what his Master was. I don't know. I just wasn't really feeling this episode all that much, and there's like this big battle that happens at the end, and I think
I wasn't. I don't think I was feeling this episode really either. I think the more kid-friendly aesthetic, it kind of contrasts with the rest of the season. But I do think that final fight was really choreographed and drawn well.
Yeah. That kind of, with this whole anime style that's come to Star Wars, I think they brought somewhat of kind of the generic elements of anime, like the big fights and the screaming, the yelling kind of elements, like you mentioned in episode 3, like with the episodes about the two twins, how the shonen kind of anime aspect. I was like, okay. I mean, I think you could did something a little bit better there. So for me, I think this was kind of one of my weaker episodes in the season for me. Then the Elder, I was a big fan of this episode, like you were, Nick. This episode where they're chasing down this rogue kind of Sith, I thought was very good. I thought the battle was very good there between the Padawan and the Elder. How he's just so overmatched, you know what I mean, and with his skills. And in a lot of these episodes too, they make kind of the lightsabers look like samurai swords, and how sharp they kind of look instead of looking very strictly kind of like popsicle shaped kind of. What were kind of your favorite standouts from this Elder episode?
One, I think the voice actors give their best performances from the English dub, but. With most of these, except for the second episode, I watched them all in English, and I think David Harbour and Jordan Fisher, they give the best performances out of the entire English cast. And James Hong, he is just so creepy as this older Sith Lord. And I like that they're delving more into that. This episode is set before the Phantom Menace, which is a time period that we don't see basically ever, except outside of the Knights of the Old Republic games.
Yeah, very good point. Then after that, you had the episode Lope and Ocho. This, really I think has good Star Wars elements in it because it's all about this personal family drama. You have this element where Lope is kind of like this alien who kind of escapes, and then she's the slave, and then she gets taken by this family. And then, then kind of the episode flashes 7 years later. Then it shows them as more grown. And then now the family is at odds, the daughter and the father. that adopted her, they're at odds with each other. So I really like that, that personal family drama, and then the daughter, siding with the empire, and then thinking like, okay, we got no choice but to submit to them, and it's the only way to protect our home, and the father wants to fight. So I thought that was really good, and Lope is kind of stuck in between, and loves them both and wants them to reconcile. So I thought that really reminded me a lot of kind of Star Wars stuff. What did you think about this episode?
Yeah, of all I think the personal drama in this works so well. The English voice cast is fantastic, and I'm not sure I was too big a fan of the Jedi reveal towards the end of this episode, but I think it still works. And speaking of kind of cribbing from different styles of anime, this is probably a lot closer to that Miyazaki-esque, to a lot closer to a Ghibli anime in terms of like its character design and the story elements it's dealing with about family.
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was very good. With the length of these episodes, do you think that served these stories well? It being, because I know we talk about what if sometimes of like we wish it'd be longer, but do you think these stories purposely, really fit with the whole 17, 20 minutes, things like that?
I think it works better here than it does in something like What If, because with What If we're dealing with characters that we're already familiar with, and they're in situations that we want to explore more deeply. With Visions, I think each episode is paced so well that by the time it ends, you think, "Oh wow, that's already over." Okay.
Yeah, I mean, things move by pretty quick, and like you said, we're just dropped in these stories and these people's lives, and it's like, okay, it's like this quick little insight into like a little day in their life, and then we're kind of out of there, and I think that's pretty cool. And then you have the last episode, Akiri, and this is all dealing about the kind of prior to the initial extinction of the Sith, and you have a Jedi named Tusugaba, and who's been suffering from visions of an unidentified individual dying in front of him. What do you think about this episode?
I think this is kind of one of the weaker episodes, and mostly because I think it moves so quickly. And speaking of like time length, I think this could have been one of the longer episodes. Like, give it like 20 minutes, and I think it would have been fine. And kind of the turn that this takes, where it's about a Jedi being seduced to the dark side, which is something that was basically the entire premise of the prequel trilogy, and somehow it's handled better in 13 minutes than it is in over 3 movies. Sorry, Lucas. I love you, but come on, dude.
Yeah. This episode to me was a little bit forgettable. And kind of just with the whole thing you say with the whole Sith, Jedi turning to the Sith and the dark side. And I thought it was okay. I would put it on my list. It's not on my top favorite episodes. Like I said, some of my favorite episodes of this are The Duel, Ninth Jedi, Lopin, Ocho, and The Elder. My top episodes of this series, and everything else I think is okay. The only one I was really kind of negative on was the T0B1 episode. That's the only one I was sort of negative on. This one I think is just fair.
Yeah, I think this is kind of like a mid-tier episode. The only one I outright disliked was TOB1.
Yeah.
But everything else has either been like a solid 7 or an 8 or higher.
Yeah. Do you think so? Did they already announce a season 2 for this?
I'm looking on IMDb, and it only has a 1 season listed so far. But again, animation takes a while. It's like from project announcement to actual release, it's like not uncommon for it to be like 3 years.
Okay,
and especially all of these animation studios, they definitely have other projects that they're working on.
Yeah. Well, they can always get other anime studios to kind of come in. The Japanese animation studios that came in and did it with Studio Colorado, Geno Studio, Trigger, Kinemi, Curtis, Production IG, Science Saru, Kamizuki Doga. So things that were like the different Japanese animation studios that came and did this. I've been seeing pretty much positive reviews from it. I guess so positive they're doing a continuation of like The Duel, which was the first episode, and they're doing a whole comic or novel about that episode, and they're going to continue that on. So see what happens out of that. So with this, I would like to see a second season. Are there any stories here that you would like to see followed up on in a second season?
I think the way Lop and Ocho, I think the way that episode ends, that leaves room for them to follow up with that story. And same with well, pretty much all of them kind of leave themselves open for another episode.
Okay, yeah, that's very true. Yeah. So with this kind of them doing this anthology series, did you think they went far enough as far as going like, okay, really having these kind of different styles and I know Star Wars, it needs new blood interjected into it. It needs people, new life needs to be breathed into it. People are tired of seeing the same old thing over again. And after the failure of kind of what the sequel trilogy was and the mess of that, what it was, do you think that this kind of does that, or did you want to see it go further?
I think Visions, it's kind of more just an experiment. After the sequel trilogy tanked, now Kennedy and company are all trying to just scramble and find out what works. Announcing all of the other series that have been announced, like Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi, Cassian Andor, and they're just trying to see what sticks. And I think with Visions, if it's positively received, if enough people on Disney Plus watch it, then Lucasfilm will probably greenlight a second season and reach out to other studios.
Yeah, I would like to see them do it. It just makes me kind of think because with the success of The Mandalorian, which a lot of people was true in a situation a lot of people loved.
Yeah,
it's just
us included.
Yeah, and then one thing I kind of one of my limitations I saw with The Mandalorian is just that, and people say with this Star Wars Visions, is just like some of the episodes was just not Star Wars. And it just kind of makes me think like Red Letter Media, they had a point when they said like, is Star Wars just so limited? Where, is it a Star Wars movie if you don't have the Empire, if you don't have Jedi, if you don't have Sith or anything like that? Then is it still Star Wars? And, what makes it Star Wars? And then if you just have an adventure that doesn't include any of those things, then it's like, okay, well, it's just people in space hanging out, And I think, you want the galaxy to feel bigger. You want the galaxy to feel more explored and not just these couple planets and these same characters that you keep running into, the Skywalkers and Solos and all these kind of, you want to meet new interesting characters, go to new interesting worlds, see bigger things, but then at that point then are just doing Star Trek. So it just kind of makes me think, how much could you really explore and expand upon things with the Empire, things with the Force and Jedi and Sith and everything like that? And are you just kind of so limited, even though you are doing something like Star Wars Visions, which is in this anime style, which is fine, and people adding their own like different stories in this world that don't have any connections character wise to any of the other characters, even though they do make references to the movies. Like I think is it in all the episodes they say like, I have a bad feeling about this? Is that in all the episodes? For the most part, I think I remember that in majority of the episodes that they say, I have got a bad feeling about this, which was the line that Han Solo said in the first Star Wars movie. But yeah, so it just kind of makes me think about that, about how maybe limited some of these kind of, maybe the Star Wars universe itself is. And the TV show being a big success, The Mandalorian, it seems like they're repeating that with the movies, where it's just like, okay, The Mandalorian's a big success, so we're going to do a bunch of TV shows. We're going to do Ahsoka Tano, and like you said, Kenobi, and as well as Cassian Andor and the rest of the TV shows. But yeah, we'll see what they do later on. I enjoyed this. I'd give it the whole season 1 a 7 out of 10 for me. Is that about what you would give it?
Yeah, I'd probably say closer to a 7.5 out of 10 for me. I did appreciate that with Star Wars. it's kind of just been the same thing for the past like however many years, and now we're getting experimental. We're doing something different with this universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
even if I don't think all the episodes work 100%, it was nice that they were at least trying something new.
yeah. All right. So what do you want to do? You want to do Rick and Morty, or do you want to do Doom Patrol?
I mean, pick a weird show.
Yeah. We'll do Rick and Morty. Then we'll do Doom Patrol there.
Okay.
So Rick and Morty. This is season 5. The gang is back here doing some more wacky adventures. And also,
Yep. Yeah, Justin Roiland and Justin Roiland and Justin Roiland and Justin Roiland are back.
yeah, doing all kind of crazy shit, voicing these characters. The much beloved series, kind of following, into its 5th season here. Overall, I thought this was a good season. It being on its 5th season now, I think I'm starting to notice some patterns that they have now in terms of episodes they do in a season. Like in a season, they're gonna have the episode where they shit on Jerry. They're gonna have a purpose, a whole episode where it's just shit on Jerry episode. And this one they had that. They're gonna have an episode where it's kind of a summer episode, where it's kind of all about Summer and her need to be liked by Rick. They're gonna have a Morty episode where it's all about Morty trying to hook up with somebody, trying to find love that goes horribly wrong. Here it was the Captain Planet episode where he tries to hook up with this Captain Planet spoof, Planet Tina.
Yeah.
So there, even though it was kind of weird because it seemed like the character was way older, and then a lot of people were talking about that, and you know what I mean. But yeah, so you kind of have that, and then there's the episode where the Rick kind of fights always kind of like maybe a bunch of other Ricks, which was kind of one of my favorite episodes of this season, which was called Mortyplicity, where they kind of do the whole thing of clones and who's a decoy and who isn't a decoy. I thought was fun. What were kind of your thoughts on this season?
Me, I think I think overall this is probably one of the weaker seasons, but mostly because of like 1 or 2 episodes that I think are downright terrible. Like the Rick Dependent Spray episode where it's just Morty fucking fighting his own sperm, or the Gotron Jerry Sis Rick Vangelion, which was the one where Rick gets obsessed with like these Voltron parodies.
Yeah, that was kind of like the summer episode there that I mentioned before. And then
I think those two kind of drag this season down as a whole.
Really.
And that's mostly because, at least with the first 3 or 4 seasons, every episode was great to absolutely spectacular.
Okay, what episodes did you love this season?
Oh, the first one, Mort Dinner Rick Andre, the season premiere, where he's just having dinner with this Aquaman parody, and Morty is just like going through this portal that is always like changing time periods, and he becomes like this mythical demon figure.
Yeah, I love that episode a lot too. That's very Rick and Morty type of stuff they did with that. Like, these characters interacting with these other worlds and just completely fucking them over constantly. I would say I also love that. I love that episode. I loved Rick Turnell, Friendshine, and Of the Spotless Mind, which brought back
the Eternal Sunshine episode where they bring back a bird person.
Yeah, I thought that was a really great episode that they really did. I mentioned the Mortyplicity episode that they did. I thought was really great. And like you said, the first episode, the Mort Dinner Rick Andre episode that you mentioned was also, to me, very good. The Voltron episode, I wasn't really too much of a fan of that episode, the Voltron type parody, plus the whole thing where they also mixed in like this whole mafia element with it as well. Kind of like this Godfather type parody of it as well, Mafia Mob kind of parody also with it. I was like, okay, that seems like a weird combination to bring into the whole Voltron parody and everything.
I think with a lot of Rick and Morty episodes, they're trying to say something deeper philosophically. And with the Sperm episode and the Gotron one, I don't know what the fuck you're trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they just saying they really love Voltron. They really love it when all the ferrets join up and form one big robot. I mean, they just like that. I mean, the teamwork. You know what I mean? Like they're just really down for that.
Yeah, but I was kind of down on the Gotron episode, and then the last 3 episodes of the season, like Rick Turnal Friendship, Forgetting Sarek Mortshell, and Rick Mirai Jack. I think those 3 episodes are perfect for the show and are taking the show into a new direction, especially with the return of Evil Morty, quote unquote Evil Morty.
Yeah, the last episode, yeah, I thought when they go back to the whole Citadel, I thought that was really great. I love that stuff like that, where with quote unquote, evil Morty, and how we've seen that kind of develop over the seasons. So going, looking at kind of, some of the episodes, the Jerry episode, wasn't really too big of a fan of, and I was like, yeah, okay, I thought that was kind of a weaker one for me. The Thanksgiving episode, I love to see Keith David being the president. He's awesome. The line reading.
Oh yes, I love the just petty fucking dynamic between him and President Keith David.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. Episode as a whole, the whole kind of thing of them turning the soldiers into turkeys and things like that. I think it was kind of fine. I think a little kind of I think it's fine. It worked enough. And then the whole thing when they meet Spider FDR was kind of definitely out of left field and something that was pretty good as well. So would you say that as far as an average of shows that episodes that you liked as opposed to didn't like, would you say the average is pretty good of episodes you liked in this season?
I think the average the episodes I liked, I'd say it's pretty high. But this is probably one of the first seasons of Rick and Morty where I've have episodes in a season where I absolutely just do not work for me.
Okay.
That are not good. And it's kind of weird that you have potentially one of the best episodes of the show as a whole in one of the weaker seasons.
And you said one of the one of the better episodes was Rick and Morty Jack, or are you talking about the very first episode?
Yeah, Rick Mirai Jack, which is probably one of the best episodes of the entire show.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of high praise. I have to go back and look at kind of all the episodes of the seasons and really binge them to really kind of have a better assessment of that. But I did think it was a very strong episode. So, when I talk about the whole kind of pattern kind of thing of kind of these episodes, did you kind of feel like that it coming into its 5th season of Rick and Morty, like it's maybe kind of getting a little tired at all? You know what I mean? And them kind of repeating.
Yeah, I think even Dan Harmon and Roiland kind of realized that this formula of the show is kind of getting tired, and that's why the finale of this takes such a turn.
Okay.
Because are we doing spoilers?
Yeah, sure. We can do spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah. So Morty. So the quote unquote evil Morty's plan is just to break this something called the finite curve, which is just like a baby crib around the universe where, which basically is just a border cutting off every universe where Rick isn't the smartest man isn't not the smartest man in the universe, and as he puts it, it's a baby crib around the world's biggest ego.
Okay. Yeah. And so I thought that was kind of a good finale, kind of the whole payoff that we've been talking about for the past seasons here, and because I think that throughout this season it was kind of hitting on very familiar territory, just in terms of Morty seeking heavy validation from Rick. Even though we've seen in past kind of just like last season where it was very much seemed like Morty was very much going to be like, okay, I don't really need Rick as much, and you know what I mean, he's kind of a bad guy and a guy that desperately kind of seeks that validation and uses Morty to a degree. But then
which is something that they actually acknowledge in the penultimate episode. And how, this relationship, it absolutely is abusive and toxic, and Rick tries to break away from that.
Yeah. So next season, now that they've kind of done more to, change it up, be different, Let's see what kind of they continue on, and then in season 6 and kind of see what they do there. So what would you want to see from season 6? Now that the finale and everything like that.
I think with season 6 now you can, because I think in every season they've kind of parodied different genres of science fiction and even fantasy to an extent. I want to see them go more into that or do more to like kind of humble Rick, because I feel like he's kind of become this icon for people who misunderstand the show, and Rick is not a character that you are meant to like or empathize with.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think season 6 should do huge strides to make sure people, like, even though the show is absolutely saying, yo, Rick is a fucking awful, awful human being.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely on the list of, misunderstood characters in media, not misunderstood in terms. Well, I guess,
it's like he's the college frat boy poster of people that if you idolize this guy, you're reading it wrong.
Yeah, like him, like Benedict
Walter,
Cumberbatch, Sherlock.
Benedict Cumberbatch is Sherlock, Walter White, Tyler Durden, the Joker.
Yeah. That's just bad warning signs right there. But can't wait to see season 6. I still thought this was a strong season. A lot of people saying this is probably one of the weaker seasons of Rick and Morty.
I would say it has two of the weakest episodes of the show, but as the season as a whole, I think it's pretty solid.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would give it.
It's like 2 episodes that are the fucked up wheels on the shopping cart.
Yeah. For me, I'd 7.5 out of 10 for season 5. For me, I think it's still an okay season, still a solid season. Yeah.
I was closer to like a 7 up until the 2-part finale, and then I kind of came wrapped around to like an 8, like a solid 8 for the season as a whole, just off the strength of the finale.
Yeah. All right. So moving on from discussing Rick and Morty, going to discuss Doom Patrol, season 5. Javon Good, he asked a question in the chat here. He says, y'all talk about that Cowboy Bebop live action opening on YouTube? No, I have not seen it.
I saw a little bit of it. It looks like a opening to Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, so they did like a live action version of it? Oh, okay. So
they basically remade the opening, but with the actors who are in the live action version.
Oh, okay. So it's the same music and everything.
Oh yeah, same exact music. They have the same composer from the anime actually doing the score for the show.
Ah, okay. I was actually reading something about the Cowboy Bebop anime where somebody was they were saying that so it's not going to be remakes of the episode from the anime, that it's going to be like just a continuation, or it's going to be like these different stories told in this live action version. So, I mean, listen, I don't have high hopes for the live action Cowboy Bebop, live action series, but I'm gonna watch it. I'm not gonna hold anything against it. I mean, it's going up against the anime of Cowboy Bebop, which is one of the greatest animes ever made. I mean, any list you'll read.
And I think the live action version is taking the right approach, because no matter what you do, you're not gonna touch the anime.
Yeah,
you're not gonna come close to how good that anime is. So the best you can do is just continue stories from there, or just do your own thing with these characters.
Yeah. So you're not going to do that. But when it comes closer to when it comes out, because I think it's going to come out November 19th, I believe, or November 12th, something around there. When it comes around close to that time, we're going to be doing we're going to do an anime series review of Cowboy Bebop, because I haven't seen it in a long time.
I'd never seen it.
You've never seen it? Okay, so it's going to be an experience, because I haven't seen it in years. I haven't seen it since it was on Adult Swim. So it's going to be an experience to watch it for sure. So I'm going to be binging that. I think it's all on Hulu right now, the Cowboy Bebop series. So we're going to be doing that in preparation for the review for the live action.
I'm excited.
So that'd be pretty good. But thank you, Javonga, for asking that question.
Thank you, Mr. Good.
We got Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol season 2, because season 3 just premiered on Thursday. This past Thursday.
Season 3 just premiered this past Thursday, and I'm loving HBO Max's model. They did just like what they did with Titans. They debuted the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, so that's very good. So if you don't know what Doom Patrol is, Doom Patrol is basically a group of these fucked up individuals living in this house, and they are led by a former Bond, Timothy Dalton here, who plays Niles. People refer to him as the Chief. He's kind of like a Charles Xavier-esque figure of owning this mansion with all these people with gifted abilities living in it a little bit. Actually, I think his character predates Charles Xavier.
Charles Xavier and the X-Men, that was basically Marvel's attempt at doing Doom Patrol.
Yeah, and it's like now it's like Doom Patrol is seen as a lesser X-Men now, because the way X-Men has already taken off and everything like that. A quick, this is a little bit of an aside, but quick thing: what do you think about Marvel suing the rights because they're trying to keep Iron Man and all their characters, Spider-Man and things like that, because Steve Ditko's estate, Stan Lee's estate is trying to get.
I mean, it's not the first time that they've had to fight off a lawsuit, but as much as I want to be on the creator side, they created them when they were work for hire, so they legally have no claim to the copyright.
Yeah, and then so I need to do more research about the story because I just kind of read some of the same things because I wasn't preparing to talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of a big thing. I'm looking at an article right here that says, with ownership rights of its heroes at stake, Marvel sues families of Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and others. Disney is going to court on Marvel's behalf. The corporation has sued the family of Marvel legends Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, Don Rico, Don Heck, Larry Lieber, and Gene Klon in order to prevent them from claiming copyrights for a slew of Marvel characters, including Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Hawkeye, Thor, and Black Widow. There's complicated legal machinations going on here, but we'll try to sum it up in key points. Reported by reported. So maybe later on we'll talk about it and everything like that because that's an interesting case. And
this is something I got to do a little more research into.
Yeah, because that's something we got to do a little bit more research into. But here, so back to Doom Patrol here. So you have that character of Timothy Dalton as Niles, who's the chef. You also have actors like Diane Guerrero as Jane, who has 64 personalities, and she has every one of her personalities has powers. So she's kind of like this. If you've ever seen the show Legion, it's kind of similar to that a little bit, like somebody with kind of multiple personality, schizophrenia a little bit, and they all have different powers. You also have April Bolobi, who plays Rita Farr. Rita Fair. People might know her. She used to be in 2.5 Men. She played, like, I guess, lack of a better word, she played the bimbo in that to Charlie's brother, Alan. He was kind of like this young hot chick he was dealing with. She was in that. Her whole thing is that she was an actress from the 50s, or actually from the 50s, was it? And
an actress in the 50s who had an accident, and now she's become like the Elasta woman or a blob lady.
Yeah. You also have Matt Bomer in this. People know he was in that show White Collar. I used to watch the show. It was on the USA Network. I used to watch the show. Very handsome guy. You know what I mean?
And they wrap him up in bandages for most of the season.
Yeah. He plays a character called Larry. He plays a character called Larry Trainer. Former United States Air Force pilot. He went up into space and then went into contact with like this negative force energy, which basically kind of burned him to crisp, and that's why he's all in these bandages. And then the bandages keep in his radiation because if he ever takes off the bandages, he'll make everybody sick around him and die. Which he brings up at the worst opportune time. The guy's trying to, he's also a character who is gay, and the guy's trying to hit on him and hook up with him. He's like, yeah, if I take off these bandages, everybody will die and go off. Like, the guy's trying to flirt with him and saying, like, I bet you're just really fit on them bandages. And he's like, yeah, I'll take them off and everybody's going to die. He's like, oh, okay, thanks, dude. And he just completely ruins the moment. So and then he's constantly fighting with this negative spirit inside him because it's like this negative spirit, like its own entity as well, its own mind, and the negative spirit is constantly trying to get him to reconcile with his family and his trauma from his past. You also have one of like a lot of kind of the like I'd say a fan favorite of the show. You have Brendan Fraser, who plays Cliff Steele, who was like a former NASCAR driver. Then he ended up in an accident, and then his brain got put into a robot. And he's great to see kind of Brendan Fraser back. I know he's kind of having a great comeback that a lot of people love to see.
He retired for a number of years, I think, because he was sexually assaulted by a producer. Yeah, and I'm just happy to see he's like on the up and up again with his career.
Yeah, he's kind of coming back. He's going to be in a Martin Scorsese movie next, right?
Ooh, yeah, he was just in a Soderbergh film for HBO.
Yeah, so he's making a comeback. Yeah. You also have Javon Wade, who plays Cyborg in this. He's the he came in the first season. I remember his whole role coming in is because he's like, hey, I'm actually a professional superhero. I actually do this. I'm about that life. Let me show you fuck ups how to actually do it well. You know what I mean? Because I actually kind of do this. But then
if we're talking about parallels to X-Men, he's basically like a Cyclops. Like he's the guy who actually wants to like do the superhero stuff, and everybody else is like, "Fuck off."
Yeah, he's like this Boy Scout. He's like, yeah, I actually want to, kind of do this superhero thing, put it on my resume. You know what I mean? And he just realizes he's just as fucked up as everybody in that house. He's no better, and absolutely a disaster himself. And that's kind of what this show is. It's dealing with all these people who have all these deeply personal issues. And I, what brought me into the show is, first of all, the hype around it. A lot of people I know were talking about this show, and a lot of people whose opinion I respect, they were like, man, you got to check out Doom Patrol. This is really good. And
I think at the time it premiered, it was still on like a DC Universe's single app. Yeah. And I think the shows this premiered the same time as the Umbrella Academy. And just because Umbrella was on Netflix, it got more popular than this show.
Yeah, and I would say, not to put the two shows against each other, but I would say I like this show a lot more. You know what I mean? And there are very much similarities between the two shows. They're dealing with kind of like this, even though they're not related. They're not related in Umbrella Academy either, but in Umbrella Academy they were adopted and they kind of lived as brother and sister. But this is kind of, they are just this one kind of messed up family because of all the things they're kind of dealing with each other. But in this here, you kind of like dealing with these kind of personal issues, like we mentioned, like for instance, Brandon Fraser's character Cliff Steele. He was kind of a bad father, bad husband, cheated on his wife, and when he got into his accident, he kind of lost all that. And this is about him kind of coming to terms, with trying to reconcile with his daughter, and trying to get a relationship with her, and trying to make up for all the years that were gone. You have Rita Farr, who's her whole thing is she also had someone who had kind of a messed up childhood with her mother, and this pressure to be famous, this pressure to be successful, and how much that was kind of put upon her. You have Matt Bomer's character, who is all about trying to reconcile with his family because of he was someone who was gay and he was married and he cheated on his wife with another man. And
he was a closeted homosexual in the, I think, the 70s, they said, or the 50s.
I think it was like the 40s or the 50s. He was a pilot, I think. Yeah, it was like the 40s or the 50s. Where he was, maybe around that time period, and like how he was there. And then you have Diane Guerrera, who plays Jane, who has all these people living in her head, and all of them kind of come out at different times. And you have Jane, who they call her the primary, so she's the one that faces the outside world. You know what I mean? She's the only one that can do it. All these other personalities, they can't. I mean, they absolutely just crumble. One thing about it, I was kind of a little confused about it was, so when they go inside her head and you have this character who, like, basically all these personalities inside her head, they all protect this girl called Kay. So is Kay, is that like a young Diane Guerrera? Like, is that Jane when she was like the way she grew up, or is that someone that's totally separate? I was
I think Kay is meant to be like the young version of Diane Guerrero.
okay. Yeah.
And all of the different identities, all 64, they started popping up to protect that little girl from the trauma that's more deeply explored in season 2 of the show.
Okay. Because I was like, okay, yeah, yeah. So, so that's kind of her then and confronting that of like the abusive childhood that she faced, and I think this season two it delves more deeper into kind of those personal issues that
Hmm.
season one kind of took upon, especially at the end of season one. Where it was revealed that basically Timothy Dalton's character of what he did and his part and role and impacting their lives as well.
Yeah,
Um,
he caused every single one of their accidents that brought them to him,
yeah,
and he did it so he could experiment with immortality to try and live uh, to outlive his daughter.
yeah. So in comparison to this to season one, season two, what do you kind of think about this show?
Season 1, I think when season 2 premiered, it had this impossible hurdle to jump because season 1 had this amazing villain performance from Alan Tudyk, who played Mr. Nobody,
Yes.
who was kind of this reality altering entity, and how do you live up to that? Season 2, I think it shies away from having an overarching villain. It does with kind of with Dorothy Spinner and the Candlemaker in this potentially apocalyptic threat that she's going to cause. But I think where the strength of season 2 is it dives deeper into these characters and their trauma and how they deal with it. And while at the same time going as bug nuts insane as it could possibly get, because you have like some of the D and C list characters from DC Comics. Like you have an entire episode about the Sex Men.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes. That feels like really good. Like if I were to say like, hey, what are some good episodes to show people to introduce you to this whole thing of Doom Patrol? I would definitely show them Sex Patrol episode. This whole idea of these people who fight sex entities like Ghostbusters. Basically, they're for just sex ghosts, and they fight them. They should take that idea, put that in the next Ghostbusters. Them fighting, sex Ghostbusters, sex ghosts. You know what I mean? Ghosts are just humping. They should add that in one of the new Ghostbusters. But I thought that was kind of a very cool concept, and this season, it's tough to say with the second season as far as which one I like because I do like them delving deeper into the these people and their issues. The first season, I thought they were just there's some really really good episodes. Like I said, you had the great performance from Alan Tudyk, as Mr. Nobody. But also, you kind of had episodes like the episode with Danny Street, which is like this street that's like this entity almost, you know what I mean? The sentient kind of
Yeah,
being.
this sentient genderqueer teleporting street.
Yeah, which was I thought that was a really great episode. That was kind of really good. And
It gets even better in like the 13th episode where they meet Flex Mentallo, the guy who can change reality by flexing different muscles.
yeah, that was I think when they free him and see his reality that he's in. He's been stuck in this prison for in the first season for all these years, and his wife eventually like she's been mind controlled and works for them, and then he had to free her. So I thought that was like a very sad story as well. Kind of going on with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. As silly as the show gets, and as silly and absurd, it always keeps it grounded with these characters and real drama.
Yeah.
Which I think this show it dances that fine line beautifully.
Yeah, very, very, very much so. That I do like a lot. Like it's able to blend the comedy, the drama, the comic book elements to it, the weird stuff, because you have a lot of like the DC catalog of C-list, D-list people. Like these characters in Doom Patrol, they're D-list characters. That you can really have fun with and really do a lot of stuff with. That I think I appreciate. You don't have this huge lore and fandom that's attached to these characters like you do some other characters. I mean, the biggest character in here is probably Cyborg. I mean, he's the biggest, most well-known comic book character here. Were there any kind of weaker elements for you in this season too?
Season 2, the only really weak element I can think of is the 9th episode. But this was also airing in the final episode. It was a victim of COVID.
Ah,
So season 2 kind of ends on a cliffhanger. So it's up to the premiere in season 3 to pick it up.
okay. That's a very good point. What did you think about the addition of Dorothy here, who's the daughter of Niles?
Oh, yeah, Dorothy Spinner, who's played, I think, wonderfully by this actress, Abby Monterey. I think I think the whole point of her character, it's season 2, what it's really about, it's dealing with the possibility that the chief is going to die because he's been immortal for however so many years, and in order to help, because at the end of season 1, Niles, Jane, Cliff, and Rita, they're all like shrunk. They're all shrink. They're tiny, and so to fix that, he has to give up his immortality. And season 2 is him dealing with that, and also him trying to make amends to all of the characters and try to atone for all of the horrific things that he's done.
Yeah. You know,
And
especially.
the character Dorothy, I think she brings an innocence to that performance, but every time she's on screen, you can't help but feel uneasy because the kind of man Niles Calder is, and why was he keeping her hidden from the world the entire first season?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the actress who plays Dorothy, I think she does a very good job, and very good job at portraying that. And it's tough sometimes with kid performances because it can be sometimes hit or miss. You know what I mean? And I think with this one, it's acted and directed very well. And one thing about Dorothy is she's kind of got she's got an ape face. And I'm not talking about the actress's looks. No, literally, she's I got a ape for a face. That's how that's how the character is supposed to look. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So long story short, Niles fucked an ape.
So you have kind of that here. So, and I think she does pretty well. She's a nice addition to the cast here. So for me, I wouldn't say there's any real kind of weaker elements for me in this episode too much. I think this is still very good. Still enjoy seeing these characters, and seeing them kind of really go further in these issues, further with like Jane, especially like with her dealing with all these different personalities, and trying to fight that and trying to fight their past. And it's really more of them confronting their past and trying to move on from it.
Yeah, even down to in the final episode, they each have to fight their imaginary friend. And that takes a very funny turn where Cliff, his imaginary friend, is Jesus.
Yeah. I still really like the show a lot. Really enjoy it. I'm glad they brought it back because I know when they said they were swapping over the DC Universe stuff on HBO Max. I was like, I hope they bring over Doom Patrol because I really like.
Yeah, and thankfully they brought over everything. So Young Justice is now on Max. Titans, Harley Quinn, still holding out hope for Swamp Thing. Knock on wood.
Yeah, maybe they'll bring back Swamp Thing. Maybe I'll start a hashtag bring back Swamp Thing. You know what I mean?
It got Warrior season 3, so hopefully we can get it for Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I'll bring that Swamp Thing. Yeah.
Come on, James Wan, you're not too busy.
Yeah, James Wan. What are you gonna do? Direct another Fast and Furious movie? You know what I mean?
What are you gonna do? Direct Malignant 2?
Yeah.
Which I kind of hope he does.
I thought it was a good season. I'd give it a strong 8 for me. Out of 10.
Yeah. For me, this is the year it came out. It was such a great year for comic book shows. It was like this, The Boys, Invincible. It's a great year to be a comic book fan. And every time I bring up my favorite shows, this is always like in my 1 or 2. I fucking adored this series, and this season. I got to give it a strong 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Oh, very nice. There's another DC show, Stargirl. I know a lot of people really talk about Stargirl that they like a lot. I still need to check that out. Haven't watched an episode of that yet. That looks very good. Jupiter's Legacy. That wasn't a really good comic book show. That missed the that missed the mark. Everybody was already talking about these good comic book shows. It was like WandaVision and The Boys and Invincible. It's like,
Yeah,
oh man,
WandaVision, The Boys, Invincible, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and Jupiter's like,
and that was like, hey man, you next up to bat, what you gonna do? And it was 3 strikes, you're out. I mean, you just fucked up. You shit the bed.
Hey! Thankfully now everybody's kind of realized that Mark Millar is kind of a hack.
I don't know. I mean, well, I kind of like
everything he's done was improved by the movie adaptation of his.
Pretty much, yeah. I can't argue with that too hard. Javon Good said, still need to watch Young Justice. They need to bring back Static Shock. Well, they are doing a Static Shock live action show or movie that they're supposed to be doing.
I think it's one of like 5 other projects that were announced for HBO Max, because they're doing Batgirl, they're doing Static, and they're doing Blue Beetle.
And they're doing like Black Canary, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're doing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're doing Black Canary too. I mean, hey, they might as well do The Huntress. I mean, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she kicked ass in Kate. They might as well go ahead.
Kate. To quote a friend of mine, Kate kind of honks. So let's bring her back for the Black Canary movie.
Yeah. He said. Javon Good said, "Yeah, I saw you producing in Static Shock Live." What does he mean by that? He saw me producing.
Yeah, you're producing it. Yeah, what are you talking about? You're producing the Static Shock.
Yeah, I'm producing Static Shock. Oh, okay. Well, I'll try to make it good for you, man. I'll try my best to make it good for you. Or maybe it's Michael B. Jordan. That's what he maybe means. That's probably what he means. Michael B. Jordan's producing it. Oh, that's what I thought. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, because you look like Michael B. Jordan.
That's what I thought. Isn't he also trying to be Black Superman, or trying to do a Black Superman too? And
he's attached to Black Superman.
Yeah, okay.
Which I don't know why they're trying to, because we've already got Black Superman with Idris Elba and Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, I'm Black Superman. I should get that as an alert. I gotta get that as like
Black Superman.
Yeah, I should get that as an alert. Yeah, I did like that. That's pretty funny. Yeah. But he did a really cool job as Bloodsport in the Suicide Squad. It's a shame that nobody really saw it, but not a lot of people saw it. But I thought he did it.
Hopefully it finds new life on streaming when it comes to HBO Max, and hopefully it does well on its home release.
Yeah. I heard Zack Snyder's Justice League that it did really well with DVD sales. It did really well.
Shockingly, yeah.
Yeah, it did really well. Javon Good says Shaq is Black Superman. No, Shaq is Kazam. He's already got a superior tie. He's Kazam or Steel.
He was Steel.
Yeah, he was Steel. Yeah, he's Steel. Yeah, there you go. Which is, I mean, Steel was basically, I mean, he replaced Superman in the comics for a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. They should make that when Flash runs around in the multiverse and the Superman, they should have Shaq. They should have all the live people who played DC heroes before. Like they should bring back Linda Carter, who was Wonder Woman. They should bring back all the Robins, everything like that, and have Shaq as Steel. I love to
Chris O'Donnell comes back as Robin.
Yeah, you have Alicia Silverstone feeding her baby like a bird, throwing up in his mouth, wearing the Batgirl costume.
Oh my God, that's actually real.
Yeah, she did that.
What is it? What the fuck is it with celebrities and weird shit?
Yeah, feeding her baby like a bird. Birds, they chew up the food and then spin the baby like. Ooh. Yeah, that's fucking weird. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, people, we're gonna get out of here. We did a great interview with Deja Leonard, author there. She had the art book out, 4 Years an Island Girl. She also has a comic, but this was like the art book of her work. Very, very great work. Very enjoyed talking to her. Great interview. Gave really great detailed answers, long answers. So I, really can't wait to upload that to YouTube and everything like that. Next week we're gonna be doing Venom.
No. Next week. You better stay tuned next week because there's gonna be carnage.
Yeah, good old Carnage. Yeah. I think I saw a clip. I gotta watch that clip. Tom Hardy was talking about that Venom rap. That shit. Yeah, that Venom. Yeah, we're gonna be doing that, and we're gonna do it in the Many Saints of Newark, which is the prequel to The Sopranos. Gonna be doing that movie. Check out that. Can I watch?
We're doing. I'm not even gonna try and watch Sopranos. I'm just gonna go into it.
Yeah, because I've never seen The Sopranos show. Can I binge all seasons of The Sopranos before Friday? Oh, we'll see.
Javon, he just put in the chat. Andy Serkis is directing Venom, so there's a bit of hope. I'm hopeful too. I think he's a guy who understands how to work with CG and with motion capture, and I also think he gets more of the comedy side that this version of Venom is going for.
Yeah, because I saw some photos of Venoms at a party taking selfies, got the glow bands around them. So yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how it does.
And the banter between him and Eddie Brock in the trailers got me laughing.
So we're doing that Friday, and then Saturday. Maybe do a watch party, maybe not. See what we'll do for Saturday. Haven't decided yet. I think I have another interview lined up with another author and writer of a comic book called Offset, Delvin Howell. So hopefully he makes it Saturday. Got that interview, and might do something else after that. So, Nick, where can people find you?
You can find me Twitter, Instagram @NightAndDayNick. Josh, where can they find the show?
All right, so if you want to check us out on the socials, we're everywhere to be found. We're on Facebook, The Afternoon Tune. We're on TikTok, Afternoon Tune. We're on Instagram, Afternoon Tune. We're also on Twitter, Afternoon Tune. If you want to send us an email, you can do so at theafternoontune@gmail.com. Hey, if you also want to check us out wherever you listen to podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts. And with Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave us a 5-star review and a good detailed review on why you like listening to the podcast. Hey, we're also on Anchor. Hey, we're also on YouTube. Check us out there as well. Leave good constructive criticisms there in the comments. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff at YouTube. Just type in The Afternoon Tune and we'll be there. We're also, of course, we're streaming on Twitch. We're on twitch.tv/The Afternoon Tune as well. You can check us out there, follow us there, get notified when we're streaming, everything like that. And we're also always promote on the socials, what we're doing for the week, what we're going to review, and what we're going to see. So, hey, to all you good people out there, hope you enjoyed the show. And don't forget to always stay tuned.
Stay tuned.